Good day, writers. I am so excited because today you are going to be generating ideas for your very own memoirs. And last week, we started to take a look at some examples of memoirs, and some of the things that you noticed were that memoirs can be structured in different ways. So, one of the ways that a memoir can look is kind of like a narrative story, but you also may have noticed that memoirs can also take on more of an essay like structure, or they can even really be a mixture of both of those. But today, I thought that what we would do is try to generate some ideas for more of a personal narrative, like a story structure. Um, so we're basically going to just come up with some ideas and collect ideas about stories from our very own lives. So, I'm going to give you some tips and some strategies for collecting ideas for writing personal narrative entries in your digital writer's notebook today. And eventually, you'll pick one of these, and that's the one that you'll go with for your actual memoir. So, at this point, we're just generating ideas. All right, so let's take a look at some of the different strategies to generate personal narrative entries. So I have six different strategies that I'm going to share with you today. And then hopefully, after this lesson, you'll be able to pick one of them and try that. So the first one is to think of a person who really matters to you. So you can think about somebody special in your life. It could be somebody that you spend a lot of time with, or perhaps it's somebody who you haven't seen in a while but has made a really big impact on you, or it could even be somebody that maybe you've never met before, but they've somehow made an impact on you. All right, the second strategy is you can think of first times, last times, or times that you realized something, you made a realization. So, a lot of us, I think, can think of the first time that we did something, maybe the first time that you entered and road school, right? That could be a first time, the first time that you opened a locker. You can also maybe consider last times that you may have done something too. Um, the last time that I'm thinking back to when I was in high school, the last time that I was in my high school and had my very last class. Sometimes last times can be a little bit sad. Like you can think about like the last time that maybe you saw somebody um, that was really important to you. Or you can even think about times that you've made a realization or you learned a lesson. All right, the third strategy is think of a strong feeling. So perhaps you think of a particular time in your life where something happened and you really focus on that feeling, those emotions that you had that were associated with that particular event. Next is you can another strategy is you can think of a place that really matters to you. So it could be a place that you're very familiar with that you go to every single day. It could be a really special place. Maybe it's a place you know, that you feel safe or that you feel comfortable, or maybe it's a place that you visited that made a really big impact on you. The next strategy is notice small moments and capture them in entries. I almost tend to think when I look at all of these that this could be the trickiest one. And I sometimes think that because it's almost like you have to kind of put that strategy in your mind and almost like live with that idea in your mind. So I think it helps if you're really, really observant and you're observing things around you and you're really paying attention to things that are going on. So that one might be a little bit tricky to do today. Maybe keep that in the back of your mind. And maybe as we go through this week, you start to notice small things, small moments, try to capture that, right? And then maybe next week, when we also collect more ideas and generate more ideas, maybe you can try that strategy. But you can always give it a try if you think that you have a small moment in mind. All right, and the last strategy is to read another author's words and use their words to spark ideas of your own. So keep in mind you're writing about a moment in your life, but maybe there's something that you've read in a book or in a short story or a poem that kind of gets you thinking about that moment in your life. All right. So now that we've looked at all of these strategies, the next step here actually really the first step is to select a strategy. So you're going to try to pick one that you want to try today. Step two is to create an entry in your digital writer's notebook. And the first thing that you can try is to create a list. So you might just want to start to create a list of different moments that go along with this particular strategy. And then lastly, you're going to pick one of those listed ideas and write about one of them. So you're going to write one entry. So I'll give you an example here. So, all right, I'm going to try this myself. So I've looked at all the different ideas here, and I'm going to ask myself, which of these strategies do I want to try today? So I thought about it already. I think I'm going to try this one. Think of first times, last times, or times that you realize something. And I think I'm going to go with first times. Okay, so I'm going to go into my digital writer's notebook and I'm going to try to follow these steps. So the first one is to select a strategy, which I already did. The second step is to create a new entry and to try to make a list. So I made a list of first times that I can think of. So I have 3 items in my list, but you can have more than 3. So some of the things I was thinking of was the first time that I traveled to Europe by myself. I was in college and I was studying abroad in Rome. And I went all by myself on an airplane, and I had never been to Europe before. So that was the very first time that I went to Europe, and I went all by myself. So that I can really, really remember how I was feeling. So that might be a good one to go with. Another one is the first time I remember that I walked into my house after I bought it. That was such a joyful feeling. All right. And then the third one is the first time that I cooked my great grandmother's meatball recipe. I remember I was following her recipe and I was really excited to try to make it on my own. Okay. And now the last step after I have my list is I'm going to pick one to write. So I decided to write my entry about the first listed item when I traveled to Europe by myself. So I started my entry here. So if you want to read it, you can pause the video now. All right, writers. Now that we've gone through the steps that you're going to take, you can try this yourself today. So remember, just to revisit, you're going to look at all of the different strategies, pick a strategy, then you're going to go into your digital writer's notebook, create a new entry, okay? Make sure that you date it. Also, you can create a list of different ideas, and then you're going to pick one to write. And I'm going to challenge you to try to write today for about 20 minutes at the minimum. See if you can really get yourself to try to write for 20 minutes at least. You might even have to go onto a different notebook page. I'm really excited to read your different generated ideas, collecting ideas from your life. Keep in mind, we'll have some more time to collect ideas. So this doesn't necessarily have to be the one that you'll pick for your memoir. Okay, but we're just starting to collect ideas now. All right, I'm excited. Hope that you are too. Off you go.